Scott said yesterday that his office was in communication with the conference office throughout the decision-making process, and indicated that there was feedback back and forth with the conference's feedback in terms of that decision.
It's interesting to hear that and to read that and to be asked that question, because I'm quite protective of that communication. I saw a word comfortable. I would not express comfort with a situation like that. It is difficult. We are the conference wrestling with these issues, and obviously in a public way. And certainly no one in the commissioner's office, in my office, would communicate comfort with that situation. Yet, the reality is those institutional decisions are still left at that level.
Would this instance make you rethink that? Or explore that, the fact that those decisions are left at the institutional level? Would you?
Oh, I would anticipate that the conversation never stopped. So just understand that for the purpose of the output from last year's review, it's focused on transfers in Proposal 5A. Do I anticipate continuing dialogue on these issues? Absolutely.
Correct.
Would you anticipate a dialogue that says the conference office should have the power, for instance, in a case like this, to make a decision to say, regardless of what Mississippi State said, the conference says,
yeah,
no, that doesn't apply in the SEC?
We can keep pursuing. So I think I've answered it to say I can envision a continuing dialogue that looks at what we've done on serious misconduct relative to transfers, and the question will be asked, is that sufficient? Should we just remain there? It doesn't predict outcomes, but I envision that will be a conversation topic going forward.
Greg, until that.
But I never anticipated that we were done. So this isn't a Thursday announcement trigger. This conference has been wrestling with the issue, and it's not easy. I hope people can appreciate that. It is not as if this is done in a sterile environment. And I think that's an important conversation. I've said that last year, I've said that this year. There's a point at which the legislation concluded for this week, and we'll see what the future might hold without prediction. It is an institutional decision. The notion of comfort with this situation is not a characterization I would provide. Awareness and comfort are two different things. It is a difficult circumstance.
Did you see the video of the incident?
Several weeks ago.
When it says conduct of a nature that creates serious concerns about the safety of others, that's obviously broad, vague, whatever. How does that get broken down, interpreted?
It's a vague world. You know, it's a recognition that you can't define everything within one page.
Does that mean you guys, does every transfer idea then come to you guys and you have the opportunity to either approve or dismiss?
The expectation and experience is there are very small numbers of people who would encounter, whether it's specific or a less specific piece of language. So no, not every transfer might arrive on my desk. We've been wrestling with this, and the acknowledgement that there is difficulty in the issue. And so what is adopted here is the recognition that we clearly needed some work on the transfer issue based on some experiences in recent years. There's clarity around that, so there is upon initial and collegiate enrollment, because whether in theory or in practice, you have better access to information from that time forward, as opposed to somebody who may be just out there that reached the age of majority at 18. And Clay, I think I'd go back to the perspective offered earlier that will remain, at least for the moment, allowing our institutions to make those decisions on incoming freshmen. I think what you see right now relative to the circumstance at Mississippi State is that young man will be under more scrutiny than any other student on that campus. And the hope certainly is he fulfills the expectations now placed upon him. Whether we always have that type of approach as a conference, is one that I can't predict changing. I also am quite clear that the amount of effort we've contributed is unique to us, because we are really trying to find our way through difficult circumstances like these, and understand, given our prominence, how do we deal with those appropriately as an organization, as an institutions, and how do you treat individuals fairly? What our schools have really done as a result of what happened last year is just stay away. So you know what, we're going to go in a different direction. That young person has other opportunities. They simply won't be here. And inherent in this particular policy is that philosophy. So Brett acknowledged the situation. There have been others, and we have not received any waivers. We've not received one waiver related to last year's policy because we're able to communicate in advance.